right, so welcome to another episode of the Nonkai podcast. We have here a real special guest, Medaria.
Madeira.
I feel guilty because I always get that wrong.
those
I always
letters
feel
always
like I'm
cross me
getting that
up, though.
wrong every
No,
time I
but
say that.
Like when people see my name T-O-U, a lot of people are like toe. I'm like, no, it's two, but at the same time, it's like, sometimes certain words they just cross each other, the letters, and it's harder.
Yeah.
Like when I see your name, I'm like, dang, how do I say that? Like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to say it as well.
Yeah.
Like is it Medaria? Is it Medaria? Is it like how do I
Yeah.
pronounce it? Yeah.
I've heard like a bunch of I was one of those kids where like the first day of school, like the teacher would always like, oh, they're gonna call the names, like,
Yeah.
I apologize if I like butcher your name. Like I knew they were gonna.
You grew up with that?
Yeah, like all the
You
time.
grew up
too,
with
so,
that?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Madeira.
Madeira.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
go by
all right.
Van too.
All right,
Let's go
and
by Van.
please, if I get it wrong again during the podcast, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Okay?
good. Madeira or Van, I go by either
Yeah.
or. Either or is cool.
Yeah, because I met you as Van. I don't know if you remember, but I think you came to Hamlin to play football with us
Oh
a
wow.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were there.
Yep, I was there. I think I was you were too busy running all over us. But yeah, I forgot who you came out with, the guy that you came out with. But
One
yeah,
of my best friends, Michael Martin.
I
don't know
believe
if he rings
so.
a bell, but we've been friends since like the 6th grade. But
Okay.
he went to Hamlin and graduated, and he took me
Yeah,
out, yeah.
because you came out and played with us like a long time ago, and that's where I first met you. And then like I've always just seen you around in the community. Anytime I seen you, I always just dabbed you up.
Yeah.
Always like real cool. But like I've never like sat down or actually had a conversation with you. So I'm super excited to like sit down with you today. So thank you for coming.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank you guys for. I just want to say, no, it's a blessing to be here, and I like really respect what y'all are doing as content creators and just as men and people. I know you
Yeah.
guys like chase your dreams with the car shop, with the bee farm, and what you guys do for the community and your families. I respect it. So it's thank you for sharing your space.
Thanks
with
for
me.
saying that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I always appreciate. But yeah, no, I want to bring you on too because we'll talk about kind of everything and anything. But I always found it because I didn't know that when I first started talking to you just a couple months back, I didn't know that you were mixed Hmong and African American, right?
Yep.
So I didn't know that, and I was like, oh shit, that's interesting because. First of all, there's not that many. I mean, there's more now than there was before at some point. Like I got a couple cousins that are French, Caucasian French, mixed Hmong, and then I got one that's Algerian and Hmong. And then here I've met a few, but there's not a ton. So it's you know a bunch? You know some?
No, actually,
Hmong.
this probably sounds horrible, but I don't know too many, man. Oh my god.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Kind of put me on the spot there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know too many. So yeah, like share a little bit about your experience and your story, like kind of growing up in two. Is
two
it okay if
different
I call
worlds.
it two different worlds, essentially?
Two
I mean, we're all
different
humans,
Well, I
right?
guess
Yeah.
I guess if you grew up into it, did you even look at it as two different worlds, or is just my world is split this way? And do you even see a difference?
Yeah, no, I definitely see a difference. I think the first time I remember like kind of being called out for being black within the Hmong community was like I was probably only like 3 or 4 years old, and I was playing with we were at relatives, and I was playing with these we're trying to play with these other Hmong boys, and they said to me in Hmong, because at the time I was like very fluent in Hmong.
Oh,
That was, like,
really?
my first
Really?
language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
super fluent. And he said to me in Hmong, like, oh, don't play with us because you're black or something like that. And that was the first time, my earliest memory of like, oh, I'm like different.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like that was that really impacted me like throughout the rest of my life. And so the question was,
Yeah, just like how did you feel about it? How did you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, navigating,
Yeah.
growing
Yeah.
two different spaces almost,
Uh-huh.
like two different pieces of you, right?
right.
Yeah.
So I'm very close with like my mom's side. My mom is Hmong. She's a Vang. And man, unfortunately, I've experienced like a lot of anti-blackness just from
Yeah.
Yeah.
that exists in our community.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it's
Asian
just,
people are like the most racist people sometimes, man.
But it's like anti-blackness is like there's in the Latino community,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
white
yeah,
community,
yeah.
like it's kind of just a universal thing,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But and so And so yeah, man, it's even just from like dating girls, like
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a wife now.
Yep, she's Hmong, but
yeah.
her family is dope though. But you know, even I had an ex, and she had told her dad that she was dating me, and I've never met the man before. We've never had a conversation.
Yeah.
He straight up disowned her.
Just
He was
judged it
like,
before he
yeah.
even met the man.
I think he stayed
That's
in like
unfortunate.
Yeah, he stayed in like the south somewhere, and he was just like, if you guys ever come visit, like don't
even
come
show
near
up.
my-
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
even show up. And I'm like, damn,
That's
that's
unfortunate.
that's messed up.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean
So-
that's a reality.
That's
in
a
our
reality,
community.
man. Hmong
Like,
people, sometimes I look at my own Hmong people, because I grew up in France and I didn't grow up around a lot of Hmong people. If anything, I would say that I wouldn't call myself a racist, but I was against Hmong people in a way because I grew up around non-Hmong people my entire life,
Yeah.
up until I came to a place like St. Paul that had a lot of Hmong people, right? So I hold my own biases and prejudice against Hmong people until I got older, and you start to just understand people are the way they are because of how they were raised, who taught them. Like you just get smarter, right?
Yeah.
More wise. But yeah, no, I remember going in France. I never was around Hmong people too much, so I held a lot of biases against Hmong people as well until I got there. But did you grow up mostly? So you said you grew up more with your mom's side?
Yeah, my mom's
growing up?
side, yep.
So like your Hmong cousins and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
Hmong cousins, so I'm like very tight with. A lot of them I like consider my siblings. I just refer to them
Yeah,
as like,
yeah.
my brother, my
Yeah, yeah.
sister. And when I introduce them to people, like I don't even say cousins. Like that's how tight we are. But yeah, man, I kind of like you said, you had like your own biases towards Hmong people.
for
Like
sure.
it kind of made me like even spiteful towards
Yeah.
Hmong
Yeah.
people too, because I'm like, dang, I'm like part of y'all.
Yeah,
my
yeah,
mom.
exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Hmong
Like,
too.
y'all
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
Which you guys mean? I'm Hmong too.
Probably speak better Hmong than some of us. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
back then at least.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, it was this weird, this weird thing because I'm like, I'm Hmong, but I'm treated differently because I'm not Hmong.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, that would grow some resentment for sure.
Yeah.
To anybody.
Yeah,
To
but
anybody.
like, don't get me wrong. There's like beautiful parts of the
Right.
traditions and customs, and like I said, I'm really tight with my mom's
Yeah.
side and my mom, and my son is Hmong too.
Yeah.
You know, my wife and but yeah, it's definitely kind of grew some resentment, like I had mentioned, but.
Right. Did you see any of that like in reverse, like?
Yeah, from the other side.
On the other side,
Yeah.
honestly, that not really from my experiences. Well,
Okay.
they would tease me a little bit, like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, you look at
Little
this Hmong
different,
dude or
yeah.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But like, you know, it wasn't really anything.
Didn't seem harmful, probably?
It didn't seem
Yeah.
too harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there'd be little jabs here and there, but it wasn't like on this level of. Oh, you're
Don't
dating
play
my
with
daughter
me.
because
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
disown you guys. Like, you know, it wasn't on that
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, no, there's definitely on both sides. There's prejudice too on both sides.
Right.
Are you close with your dad's? You have a lot of cousins on your dad's side?
Yeah, but my mom and pops, they both have big family.
Big
I
families,
think
oh, okay.
my pops has like 9
Oh, dang.
siblings
Okay, yeah.
or
That's
so.
like a Hmong
9
family
siblings.
too.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Yeah.
then my mom, because my grandpa, rest in peace, on my mom's side, he had 2 wives, and so
Yeah.
I think my mom has like, including half siblings and full siblings, I think it's like 14.
Yes, so you got
15.
hella
Yeah.
cousins.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of cousins on both sides. Yeah, big families.
Yeah. And you grew up here in St. Paul, right?
No. Minneapolis.
Oh, you're from
okay.
Minneapolis? Okay.
Did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
play for Johnson or something?
No, I went to Breck.
Okay.
High
Breck.
school.
I remember seeing your high school football highlights. Yeah, and so
No. Yeah, it was
maybe that's
Breck.
why I asked.
Yeah,
Okay.
Breck High School. And we
Okay.
played against Patrick Henry.
Oh, really?
And like, I think it was my sophomore or junior year.
Okay.
And you're a little older than me, so you weren't.
I graduated in 09.
Yeah, I graduated 2011.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think you were.
So
It
you're
had to be
still
like,
around.
Oh yeah. So
Junior
your
year.
sophomore year, I was probably.
You're 2 years older.
senior.
Your sophomore year, I was a senior.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was my junior year then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and we played
Yeah.
against you guys in
Probably
sections.
destroyed us. Then.
We did beat you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, that was the annoying thing. Like they would always like schedule our games. Like we would like schedule. We'd play Hopkins. We'd play like some of these like top schools in the States. I'm like, why would they schedule us that? And we just always get blown out like 60-0, like every year. I don't know why they continue to do that, but I always hated those games. I mean, it was just. I mean, you accepted it,
Yeah.
and I mean, but I just didn't know why they did that. But
Yeah, that's hard.
yeah, so I guess we won't talk about that. We won't get into that as much. But yeah,
You played football. So you played football in high school. You played other sports too when you were there. Were you always into sports first of all?
No, I did not. I was not a big sports person. My pops, he kind of forced me to play football when I was like 7 years old in a park board, and just I was very shy, like introverted. I'm still introverted to this day, and but he just build character, get me out my shell. And so I hated it, and I hated him for making me play football. And I was not good. I was not good at all. And, but then I think there was a time in like middle school where like kind of got away from playing for the middle school, and he was like, "Okay, I'm not going to force you to play. Like, but if you do this, like, you have to put your all into it. I'm not going to be there." And so, I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And and then I just started playing from
all through high school,
7th grade all through high school. Yep. And then I ended up enjoying it. So
yeah. Because now I remember seeing highlight tapes of you in high school. Were there any aspirations to play college ball or anything like that?
No, not really.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish I did, like, try to get a little more serious into it because, I took high school football seriously, but I wasn't really thinking about the, college ball. But my dad's best friend was actually a recruiter for the U of M.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, I'm a small guy, so I'm not sure I would have been able to start at running back. But, maybe like a kick returner, punt returner.
Yeah.
Been dope at the D1 level, too, But
did you get recruited out of high school at all, or did you get any letters?
Some like D3, some D2. But I just wasn't. I was just kind of like trying to have fun in college and just to chill out. But kind of like you though, in high school football, I was serious about like working out, lifting, and doing drills. I didn't have NFL dreams like you, but like I did take it. I was one of those kids where like if it was a party or something like that, like I would just be home like lifting. I'm like, no, I'm not about the drinking or smoking. Like so that was
that's smart of y'all, man. I wish I would have been that smart when I was in high school. I was the one like, oh, where's the party at? Oh, let's go.
But I don't know, because then I got to college and then I think I just enjoyed that too much.
Yeah,
and
I think
then
there's
I always continued to.
There's like if you do it early on, maybe you stop earlier, and then if you wait, and if you wait, and then eventually you find out about it, you're like, oh man, I've been missing out. Let's go.
I think that's my story to a T, and I still have an issue with it. Which I really want to talk to you about that, because you posted something about being 6 years sober. Yeah. Can we get into that? Is that?
Yeah. No,
I don't want to get into like anything too private, but I think that's so cool. Like personally for me, like it's an issue. Mm-hmm. I've got demons. It was really bad.
Are you a crazy drunk?
No, I just
don't stop.
I just pass out. Like I just like fall asleep. But like here's like I just don't say no. I just don't say no to it, and so I just continue to go. And there was a point where in my professional career where I was like using it to like get over some of the angst of like meetings and stuff like that. It'll kind of loosen me up, and then eventually, I got to the point where, man, I'm in line waiting for the liquor stores to open with like two bums, and so then when I hear stories like you about like being sober for so long, like there's something like very admirable about that. Just because like I should get sober, and I should kind of take control of this situation a little bit more, especially like now that I have children. I've always have conversation with my therapist and my wife about it. It's like there's so much at stake now. Like I can't mess up, and I can't do the things that I can't afford to do the things that I used to do. So like, tell me a little bit about it. Like, how did you Because 6 years, that's quite a bit.
What made you want to say like I'm done? Yeah. Like, was it a problem, or you just decided I'm not a drinker? Because for some it's a problem and then they have to, right?
Yeah.
And then for some they're like, nah, I'm just not gonna drink. I don't need this in my life. Like, which one was it for you?
Well, I was one of those guys. I had to kind of hit rock bottom. Yeah, okay. Rock bottom looks different for everybody.
Right,
and so before I even get there, though, like I said, even in high school, didn't drink, didn't smoke. I waited till I was 21 to have like my first drink.
Same exact thing. Same exact thing. Yeah.
And so, but then I just kind of found I think my parents I think they had a divorce like around that same time, and that like really messed me up emotionally, mentally. I'm the oldest sibling. I have one sister who's a year younger than me. And so, as an older sibling, you try not to show that you're hurt.
Right.
I was trying to be strong for my sister, and so I wasn't really talking to anyone about it. And so I kind of took up the bottle, and and so and then I started just really, just being wild, just being wild and doing wild, saying wild stuff, and like hurting people close to me, and so I'd have to wake up the next day, I'm sober, I was like, oh man, I did that, like I gotta apologize, but then I gotta realize, like, you can only apologize so much,
so many times,
still do the same
before you're just a crazy person,
right? And so like I started to become that guy that like, oh, don't get him too many drinks because it's not gonna be a fun time. And so I thought to myself, like the best apologies like change behavior.
Right.
And so I was kind of thinking, like, I don't want to keep hurting the people and stuff like that. And then there was other stuff. I drove into a ditch, and luckily I didn't hurt myself or any other people. And but one night I had 6 years ago I had been drinking and driving, and I got stopped by a cop. Yeah. And my blood alcohol was like a little over twice the legal limit. And he took me in, and we got to the station, and my pops is the former chief of Minneapolis. Medaria Arradondo. And so I think that cop who took me to the station, I think his like superior or whatever was like, oh, it's that Medaria Arradondo. We share the same name. And so he was like, oh, this is the chief's son. And then so he told me, he was like, you can call your dad, and we can kind of forget this happened. And so that was like a big moment for me, because I was like, you know what, I could call my pops and get a literal jail-free card. But then I knew, which was very like privileged of me too. But But I was also thinking, like, if I do that, I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. So I was like, let me take this on the chin.
Take the payment.
I called my pops. I was like, don't pick me up, pops. I was like, I'm gonna go, and bail me out, but I'm gonna take it like a man, I had to own it. And then I was in the jail cell. I was only in there for like 17 hours, but it felt like
that's a long time,
man. And so I was just looking up at that ceiling, and I was like, man, like, you got yourself here, like, no one, it was all me. And so I got bailed out, and then I just stopped cold turkey
after that.
I kind of associate like alcohol with jail now. And jail, like I said, it was only 17 hours, but it was like so traumatizing. You go in there, they gotta strip you naked for any weapons or drugs that you might have. You only get 3 meals. You're in a small cell. You gotta go boo boo in front of your cellmate, and it's like no freedom at all. And so I was like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, see, like, I went through that same process too. Like, actually, this time last year, but I don't know what it is about me. I just learned the hard way, and so I like, it still continues to be an issue. And so you didn't do any programs or anything like that. You just stopped. You just made that conscious decision after that day to just stop cold turkey, like for yourself.
Yeah, well, the court did order that as part of my probation that I go to I think it's Mad Moms or Mad Dads? We just kind of go to like a seminar where people who's been affected by drunk drivers or their family members have been killed because either their son or daughter was drunk driving, or someone had hit their loved ones. And like, so I sat in and listened to that, and that really, I wasn't going in there like, man, like forget all this is, but like I was really going in there to like taking it in, and like it really did touch me. And I was like thinking I could have done that to someone else's baby boy or baby girl, and I to live with that.
I count my blessings all the time, man, for all many times when I had drinks and got behind the wheel. I count my blessings all the time, because now with age I'm a little wiser. But I'm like, man, so many times it could have gone south, and sometimes it might not even be your fault, right? It could be you driving, but not even be you that caused the accident. But your reaction time was slowed just enough that you couldn't avoid the accident and the collision. You both get hurt, and then obviously blood alcohol level is always tested on an accident,
Yeah.
most always. So then you could still be at fault for that. So it could be the smallest thing that we take for granted that shit, life is crazy like that, you know?
Yeah, no,
It could happen. It could happen real fast, but
Yeah, all it takes is a moment.
yeah, it takes a moment. But so 6 years of. Do you even think about it anymore?
No, because
like when you go to a picnic, everybody's cracking. I mean, you play football on the Hmong flag football team, so clearly there's picnics happening all the time where everybody's drinking. Like,
and our team is like one of the that's what I like about Witness too. Shout out to Witness. We're not one of those like
don't party
typical.
too.
Yeah, we're not. We don't really. That's not really our
Party till 3 a.m.
Because
Show
I know
up
you-
at 8 a.m. to the tournament.
because I know
Yeah.
you guys have people on that team that play like college ball and stuff like that. So
Yep.
it's probably more like focus on the sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we're
Truly focus on
pretty
the sport.
structured. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of just all about. And we have fun too, but
Yeah, yeah.
we don't need to, have
Yeah,
mix alcohol in
yeah.
there to have fun. But yeah, no, I don't really get tempted because, like I said, I really associate like alcohol
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
jail, and I'm like,
So you
I
made
am
like
not trying
a-
to go back at all. Especially, I have a wife and kids,
Yep,
so I'm,
yep.
I'm really not.
Yeah,
I have too much to lose, and so
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. People say like, oh, jail, like it's not that bad. I'm like, no, I'm not built for it. I don't think anyone is. Even
No, I
people
don't
who say
think anybody
they're
is.
like it's not that bad. They're lying. I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's
No.
something wrong with you,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Unless you're situated. I think the only time where, not that it benefits, but I think like I've heard stories of people that'll go that are like homeless and stuff. So for
yeah,
them,
yeah.
it's like utilizing the system, right?
Yeah, you
But
get
I
3
think
square
like
meals,
yeah. But I think otherwise by choice, you wouldn't just go be locked up in a cell. You know,
No.
that'd be a little crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like in my head now, thinking about what you said now, like about being sober and stuff. Now I'm like, dang, I'm like really starting
Because
to
it is just a
question.
choice, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
it is really just a choice, right? Like, and like, I've never really had an issue with it. I mean, definitely I partied hard before, but I never really had an issue with it. And so to me, I've never looked at it as like something bad, right? I just look at it as like a thing we have in society that's part of our culture, that sometimes you go have a drink. But I think all it takes is one really bad thing for you to sometimes learn a lesson. And I haven't had that. And now I'm kind of on the other fence where like I'm just smart enough to be like, oh, you're gonna drink, or I'll just take an Uber then. But I can also afford the Uber, right? So I'm like, I'll just take the Uber, you know. So I'm a little bit smart about the decision. But I personally have not ever told myself in my own head I'm done drinking. Like I've never been. I haven't crossed that. Maybe I will. Maybe I never will. I've always just said, just be responsible about it. Figure out when you can, when you can't. If you got important shit to do, don't drink. Like. Or if you don't feel like drinking any other party, especially a Hmong party, and someone's pouring up a shot and you just don't want to drink it, just say no. And so I've been able to do that. So to me, it's never been an issue yet.
Yeah. Because like my personality, like everything I
you
do,
hype up, huh?
I
You
do
get hype.
to the extreme.
Yeah.
You know, when I started working out,
You get hyped,
I'm gonna
huh?
be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You know, like when I played football, I wanted to go to the NFL. You know, if I wanted a garden, I'm starting to
you're
farm.
trying to be good at
you know,
it.
so I take everything to the extreme, and then like it's just my personality.
Yeah.
And so I do the same thing. Like if I'm having a good time, I'm
Yeah,
having
you're
a
having
good
a good time.
You
Yeah.
know. And so that's everything.
It's a gift and a curse, huh?
Yeah, it
helps
truly
in
is.
certain areas and it doesn't help in other areas sometimes.
And that's why like I'm so curious about this whole journey to sobriety because like I'm not the guy that can have one and stop.
Yeah.
It's like
You like
either
to
I
keep
stop it completely.
But are you the type that have drinks or had drinks in your life, like on your own sometimes?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, to this day.
See, I was never really
To
like
this day.
that. I was
To
never
this
really
day.
like
I
that.
mean,
I mean,
yesterday I just
sometimes.
had a few beers, but
If I'm grilling,
playing
then
with the
I usually
kids.
crack. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm
beers
grilling,
is
I'll crack
okay.
one.
Yeah.
I'll crack one if I'm grilling by myself, like when it's summer and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't really do it too much either. But
Yeah. I think. Sorry, I don't mean to like
No.
steer this conversation away from that, but
I'm
like
about-
I think you just saying that is like a really like it's an
it's
eye
a
opener
powerful.
for me.
Yeah, it's a powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm like having an epiphany
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
It is a powerful thing
Yeah.
though, because in our culture in America, alcohol is very much part of the culture. Like
Yeah.
you can't deny that it's not part of the culture. If you went through the school system or anything, and you went through college and all those things, like it's part of the culture of being an American experience.
Yeah.
Is alcohol is involved. So it's not often that we actually cross other people that don't drink, honestly, or that have made like a pledge to like I no longer drink.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm pretty disciplined, but I still drink. Like I can go run, I can do everything I need to do, but I still drink. I haven't made a pledge that I'm done drinking.
Yeah.
Like I'm not there yet, and I don't know that I ever will be.
I've
'cause
made
it
that
hasn't
pledge so many times in my life.
and then broken it every time.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving
Yeah.
on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like take the.
You put it. Yeah, he's in another
Yeah.
universe now.
Yeah.
Trying to,
You had mentioned that your father was the police chief
Yeah, the
in
former
Minneapolis.
police chief. Yep.
Yep. And so, how was it like that growing
Yeah,
up
what's that
in
experience
the community?
like?
Because we hear like so much about the issue with policing right now, right? And so I'm assuming your father was a police for your whole lifetime, right?
Yep. Before I was even born. Yeah.
So like, how was it growing up in Minneapolis, hearing what you hear about policing and then having that be so close to you? I don't. And again, share what you want. I don't want to talk about anything that you don't feel comfortable about talking about.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
for sure. Yeah. Well, I think first people think like, oh, your pops is a chief. He must have been like a dictator at the
That's what
home,
I would
you
think
know,
too.
Yeah.
his way or the highway. But like, it was really my mom. She was the one that like put belt to ass, you know, or a bamboo stick, really. But so she was kind of the disciplinary. My pops is like the chill one, but he's like one of those parents that like he never gets mad. So if he does get mad, it's like the most terrifying thing in the world. But yes, but like it is an interesting kind of
because it's a big job.
Yeah.
That's a big ass job to be a chief of police of a city that's 400,000 or however many, you know.
And during one of the most like historical.
Oh, he was chief during during all that. Oh wow.
Yeah, he was. So it was like during
pressure,
the most historical
man.
moment
That's
of
real.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
probably. And
shit, the world.
at the time, it was like international.
Yeah.
And so, but it is interesting though, because just being being a minority, being Hmong, being black, and just the relationship between police and minorities here in this country, and then have my pops be, part of law enforcement too. I support Black lives and Black Lives Matter and what they stand for, and I don't know. I still supported my pops. Like I felt like he did the right thing. Obviously, he went to trial and kind of said what he needed to say, and that he did not condone what those officers did, and so
because there are nuances. I think there's
it's so complicated.
There are like I think people want to pick one or the other, but I mean you can support both.
I can,
you can, and then there's like, there's.
Well, that's the problem.
For it.
That's the problem. The news today and our culture today make it seem like we have to be so much on this side or that side. When you don't, you could just look at both sides and be like, I see your struggle. I see your struggle. I see your point. I see your point. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't gotta hate both. Like you don't have to hate anyone, bro. You just have to be open-minded enough to say like, okay, like if I grew up like this, I would maybe think like this. If I grew up like this, I'd maybe think like this. If my dad was chief police, I might think like this. It's like that's I don't even think it's a lost art. I just think that the news doesn't talk about that. Like I wouldn't say people can't think like that. I actually like to, and maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I like to believe that human beings still think like that. Have the ability to think on both sides, right?
Yeah, I think people are a lot more complicated and complex.
I think,
than
I think the media just
one
makes it.
way. Yeah.
But
surely I would like to hope that.
I would like to hope that. And surely, I think with your dad being chief of police, there probably is that misconception too of like forgetting that they're just dudes trying to do their best at what they do as well, right? You know?
I've definitely seen
they're
some
just
people talk crazy about
I'm sure.
my pops, or even just say things that aren't even true. Like there was a comment, some lady was like, oh, he's a Muslim chief, and I was like, my pops isn't Muslim, and there's nothing wrong with being Muslim, but I was like, that's just not true. It's not.
Somebody made that up.
I was like, I don't know where,
crazy,
but and there's a gray area, like you said. I think there can be gray areas, but then there's also things that I do feel like very strongly, which I find to be objective, like just like the relationship with police and inner city and minorities.
Because that's a reality too.
Yeah, it's like it's a historical thing. Like police in this country were their origins were like chasing down slaves.
Slave
So like, and I think that they're not doing that to this day, but there's still some parts
systemic
of the
issues
institution
that
that still affect disenfranchised people, Hmong people. Because there was a elderly Hmong man that was
recently shot.
Yeah.
they recently shot. And
There was a Fong Vang. I believe that was
back
his
in the
name.
early
Yeah, because
2000s, yeah.
That's the one
I was in middle school.
That was
I
the
think.
guy that jumped over the bridge, I think, while he was being chased.
No. That was the guy that was shot over at City View.
Oh, okay.
I think we were in middle school or in
Okay.
high school when that happened.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely some of that.
So there's
Yeah. So there was like some
Yeah.
some things I do feel strongly about that. Like that for instance. But I mean, what was I gonna say? But yeah, no. There's a gray area though, and and me and my pops, we disagree too. We've had our arguments about about those things, and
How's your relationship with them? Are you guys still pretty tight to this
my
day?
pops. Yeah, no, we're very tight. I'm very tight with my immediate family, my mom, my
that's
pops,
good.
my sister. My sister's like my best friend, and
awesome.
just grew up.
Your dad retired now?
Yeah, he did retire. He
Yeah, yeah.
retired. Was it 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was on the force for like 34 years.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever lean into that side at all? Like
No.
growing up?
No,
Were you
people
ever-
ask me that all the time. I
Yeah.
never thought
I mean,
about
it's because some kids do. Some
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
are like, "Oh, my dad was the Marine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a Marine too." Like some kids are like that. Some kids are like, "Fuck, I'm gonna be the furthest thing
Yeah.
away from that." And then some are just in the middle, right? They're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I like it, but maybe not for me."
Yeah, no,
you know?
definitely not. And I'm not trying to take a bullet for nobody. I ain't gonna lie. Except for
Yeah.
my family.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
hey, that's honest.
But
though.
yeah, but like, which
That's
I why I
honest.
give them props and
Yeah.
law enforcement props for risking their
For
lives
doing
for
it, yeah.
complete strangers and you as well.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, no, but he did really instill in me just like service to the community.
Right, right.
And so I think that's kind of
That's
why I
awesome.
lean
That's
towards
important,
education. I'm a teacher assistant at
Yeah.
special education school, middle schoolers, and so
Nice.
I think that's kind of more of my calling to
Yeah,
serve the
yeah.
community through serving the youth.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas he kind of served the protecting the community and so
Yeah, but you saw the toll that also takes, especially being up close with it with your dad. I don't know how much you talked to him about it, but I can just speak from my experience being a city firefighter, and that's not even being a police officer, right? Because when I show up, people are happy. Hey, there's a fireman.
Yeah.
He's coming to help. Versus when you come in a blue uniform, I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think people are like, oh shit, hey, everybody don't say nothing, hide everything. Like
Yeah.
it's paranoid, right? So I can just say that, like, yeah, it's. Those are they're hard jobs to have and yeah, it's not for everybody and everybody that comes in there also has a different reason for doing it.
Yeah.
Like I used to always believe when I become a fireman or that a police officer, like they want to come and help society and the truth is that's not entirely true. Some people just get that job because they heard they could get in, and it pays well, and they just go, and they go do it. So then that's where you say that's that gray area where they look at somebody and they're like, I don't fucking know this person. Like this is a person from this neighborhood. I ain't from this neighborhood. I'm gonna just do my job and call it a day.
Yeah.
So they have no ties to it whatsoever.
Yeah, they're not really invested in.
Yep. And then there's some people that are small town guys who come in, but they're very open minded. And so they want to know. So it's like it's so. I mean, it's hard.
Dynamics. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many dynamics
It's
within
very complex.
those types of jobs. So, that's interesting. Well, I hope is your pops enjoying his retirement? I hope.
Yeah, he's doing. He is. He likes to travel.
That's a long career.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's still like kind of doing what is it? Like consultation.
Oh, sure.
Consultations, and he'll
I mean,
still
yeah.
like speak at like.
You're one of very few
seminars
when
and-
you are the chief of police.
Yeah.
So yeah, he
You're
was
not too
he was
many.
on Bill Maher show.
Oh,
for
really?
real?
Yeah, Bill
Oh,
Maher
really?
show was on HBO.
Oh, that's
yeah,
nice.
it's like I think it was in the summer.
Yeah.
and so
Oh,
it was dope
okay.
to see him. It's
That's funny.
it's still always like surreal to see him like
Your
on
dad,
CNN
yeah.
or Bill Maher. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
so
it's
like,
funny.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, it's just my pops. People
Yeah,
come and be
yeah.
like, oh, he was
Yeah.
on Bill Maher last night. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's
That's pretty
my
crazy.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to have your pops be in such a high position.
Yeah.
But then also be black too, because like it's funny. Even though he's my pops, he's in law enforcement. He's a good man.
Yeah.
I have one of my best friends, Mason. His pops works for St. Paul, but even I still get scared when I get stopped by the cops because I'm like I
Yeah.
never know
Yeah.
any sudden movements
Yeah.
I could do. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I never
Yeah.
know. It's kind of like
People-
my
Yeah.
experience being
Yeah, but
black here in
people always.
America.
Yeah, no, you're right, And sometimes I think we forget too. I'd like to this is something I'd like to talk about. Is sometimes I think we forget because I think Asian and being black is not the same thing at all. You know, the
I think
the misconceptions, the stereotypes are way different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, I had this Caucasian white dude, sergeant in the Marines. He hit me up one time. He's like, "Yo, you want to go to Best Buy?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "Why?" And then we go over there, and he's like, "Why?" Oh, I asked him, "Why'd you bring me to Best Buy with you?" You know, he's like, "I don't know. You're Asian. I assume you knew computers and laptops, and I need to buy a laptop." And I'm like, "Damn!" But
These
that's
are
like,
our-
but that's a
that's-
good. That's like what we would say, like a positive stereotype, right?
Yeah.
And so the stereotypes
That's the
are
type of racism we deal with.
yeah.
Not that it's a competition
Yeah,
or
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
but, like,
but
yeah.
but my point is just that like
Oh,
the
man.
experience of an African American person and the experience of an Asian American are wildly different experiences.
Yeah.
And so I think that like and for you, which is kind of to me it is an interesting dynamic that you are Hmong but you're black, but you like to me I didn't know that you looked more Asian. Like you don't look that Asian to me.
Oh, yeah, no, I get
And so
black or Puerto Rican.
then right, so then
I would have
you
thought Puerto Rican. Yeah,
so then that's the lens that you had to deal with the world growing up, you know.
Yeah,
and so I think that like I just always think that because one of my best friends, he's a black dude, and sometimes he'll complain about stuff, and sometimes I'll just be like, nah, man, that's just you. But sometimes I think about it. If I was in his shoes, I'd feel the same way too. Like if I felt like I was more like if I was an African dude, I feel like I would feel that pressure way more. Like when I'm driving, like oh shit, cop, like like versus now I'm like. Especially now, for me, it's different because now I'm like, well, I was a veteran, all those things. But even then,
you just take out your veteran card and be like, hey,
yeah,
yo,
you
leave
see
me
my
alone.
tattoo. But it's I definitely can
Privilege.
I can definitely agree and like and I tried my best to really put myself in the shoe of what it feels like to if you were an African American and what the plight is and the angers that you know in society. Like I think too many people don't try to put themselves in other people's shoes, which is unfortunate because it's like. You wouldn't be saying that if you would just think deeply about what it would feel like to be prejudiced for doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
For doing
for sure.
nothing, you're just living life, and then somebody else got shit against you for no reason. Like, yo, I didn't do nothing,
Right.
you know. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
gotta be a tough fight too.
Yeah, no, I definitely got to move different. Like, I have to move a lot differently than like my full Hmong cousins. I remember one of my cousins. She had gotten stopped, just a little routine traffic stop, and I think he asked for her ID. Or maybe even before he asked for her ID. I think he was approaching the car. She was like already in the glove compartment. And I was like,
you would never
did that? I was like, you're wild.
Yeah.
But then she's like a Hmong woman. She's not think she's like, oh, I was just looking for my ID. But like me, I would, as an officer's approaching I would never.
Yeah, like they see you scrambling and reaching for stuff.
You know, I'm a dude. You know, I'm a black man. You know, and so like I kind of have those fears. But that definitely plays a part into my identity too. That like so. I don't know. Sometimes it sounds funny to like people who aren't mixed, but like I'm black and I'm Hmong, but I identify as black just because of my appearance, how other people perceive me, and then you know I live the black experience here in America too. Not that I'm unfamiliar with the Hmong experience. I know plenty about that too, just through my friends and family. But so it's definitely shaped my.
But that's the truth
identity.
because people judge they always say don't judge a book by its cover. But what does a human naturally do when you meet somebody of anybody?
Right.
You judge somebody by their cover. It's
we
like
all have biases,
it's normal, right? It's what you do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure because like I said, I didn't know that you were Hmong. So for you because it would have been different if you looked more Hmong, right?
Yeah.
Like you would have had a different lens as well. And it's funny just how we appear truly changes the lens. And I just think your lens is interesting because it's very contrasting. Like I said, it's why I was making the point that my sergeant, dumbass, brought me because he thought that I knew about laptops, even though I didn't know anything about laptops. But it's the harsh contrast of like two different stereotypes, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel for black community a lot of times. I'm like, we're privileged because our prejudice is, hey, you're good at math, right? You know numbers and shit. Like, no, I don't, but thanks, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
As opposed to like maybe what an African American dude would feel is probably not that, you know.
Yeah,
like I
like-
ain't here to steal your shit, dude. I got a job
Right.
too, man.
No, yeah,
You know?
bro, that actually happened. Someone thought that it was when I was at Hamlin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't you, but
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
some.
Oh, shit, what did I do?
Oh,
No, no.
definitely not you.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, but they weren't even a Hamlin student. I think it was like a girl's boyfriend that she had brought in.
Yeah.
Kind of like how my friend brought me in, and I
Yeah.
remember my boy Michael, he's black too,
Yeah.
and we were just like putting our gear on and whatnot, and then he was about to go into the field, but before he did, he set his bags down. He looked at his girlfriend, and he said in Hmong,
Yeah.
watch my stuff in case the black people steal it. Obviously, not knowing that
Yeah.
I can understand
Yeah.
what he's saying, and so yeah, that kind of just plays into
Yeah.
what you were talking
It
about
does.
stereotypes
Wow.
too. And
That's
everything.
kinda funny
Was that me? Hold on.
no,
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 no, I'm
No,
just
but
kidding.
you,
No, no.
yeah, you
No,
grew up.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
not
yeah,
at all.
yeah.
But
I don't think that
but
would
yeah.
be you because from what I know of you anyway,
Yeah.
you grew up in North Minneapolis
Yeah, like
playing
I-
football, bro.
Like,
Side, yeah.
I,
so you already know who your teammates are. You
yeah,
know?
when you're talking about that relationship, like,
Yeah, you know who your teammates are.
I, like, like, I don't speak about it too much, but like, yeah, like, well, a lot of my friends growing up, it just sounds like kind of like virtue signaling, like, I have a black friend,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
I
where,
know,
like,
I know
no,
black people.
yeah,
Yeah,
but,
You're,
like-
you're North Side. That's like the
Yeah.
demographic. Yeah.
yeah,
You
so
play
then,
football, man,
yeah,
so
and so a
you're
lot
like-
of, yeah, so when we played
You've been in the
football, like,
fights
we'd
with
ride,
them.
we'd
Yeah.
catch the city bus to each other,
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
other's houses, we'd go to each other's houses after games. Man, I remember, like, one of my friends, like, came to my house. It was wild, but, like, I love my mother, but my mom was like, absolutely not. He cannot come in. So, like, and I get it. And then I've also, like, waiting for the city bus, and I've seen how police interact with me and police interact with my teammates, know. And so,
it's different.
like, I get it, yeah, it's not something like I talk about a lot. Because, like, it's just, like I said, I think it's kind of like I don't want to be the guy like, oh yeah.
It depends how you grew up too, right? Because it's who you cross. Like whenever I see somebody that thank God I haven't really met too many racist folks, at least that are outwardly.
Maybe they just never showed you.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right,
That
right,
are
right.
outwardly racist. But in a way, sometimes I don't even blame them for as much as I despise a racist person. Sometimes I can't even blame them because your upbringing shapes a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
Like if the first Latino you met beat your ass
Yeah,
and you're like 8,
yeah,
then it's going to take a lot more for you to like tell yourself like maybe that was just that one guy at that one time who did that, and
Right.
and then I held a prejudice based off of that, and it carried over to my adulthood. It takes a lot. Like not everybody thinks like that, right?
Yeah.
Some people are just like, nah, man. If you cross a Mexican, be careful. You
Yeah.
beat your ass.
Yeah.
So it really depends on like your human experience. What was
Yeah.
it like growing up?
Yeah.
And for you, like you said, you played football at a formative stage of being
Yeah.
a teenager with
yeah.
a bunch
And then,
of black
like, yeah,
dudes.
a
and-
lot of my friends, like,
yeah, exactly.
it just sounds corny to say.
No,
Like,
it
I know
does,
what
but
you
it's
mean,
still,
though. I know what you mean.
But like,
but
yeah,
it's real
just-
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like Minneapolis is, if people didn't grow up there, structurally, it's like different than like St. Paul. Like St. Paul, like I've never been like when I started going to St. Paul, like as an adult, like most people are just out and about and like hanging
Yeah, it is
around. Like
different.
it's
It is
not
different.
like that in Minneapolis.
It's-
So if
yeah.
you're out and about, you're
That's
like
kind
out
of
and
weird.
about
Huh?
with
They're so
like,
close with each other, but
with
yeah.
their neighborhood kids, and
Yeah.
like we all kind of look a little different. Well, I looked a little different than them, but and that's just what it was, But
Yeah.
and yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. Anyways, did you?
Yeah.
So you're married to a Hmong chick now. Did you guys do like the whole Hmong wedding and all that stuff too? Or how'd you guys do it?
We didn't. We didn't really have
Didn't really do.
like so. To my understanding, because like I said before we started, I don't really know too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
about
yeah.
the customs and everything, but
Don't worry, I learned when I had to cross that road. I didn't
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
either.
yeah,
But there was like they need a representative from my
Yeah,
pop's
yep.
side. But my pops is black, so
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
doesn't have any
Yeah.
clan, And I'm sure there was ways that.
There's definitely ways they could have
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
there's
didn't
definitely
want to.
ways we could have done it, but maybe in the in the future, something we can have something official, and I'll invite you guys too.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
I'll invite you guys too. But
don't give this guy no beer.
It'll probably be a dry party.
There you go. Smart.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Well, I think like even something I'm seeing more like in our culture, and I think we're kind of more understanding of people's situations. Like me, like my father left when I was really young, so I don't really have like a clan or anything like that.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law was very understanding of the whole process, and so our wedding was just like he streamlined the whole thing, made everything really nice and simple. Like didn't really require us to like do much. It was just kind of like me and my friends. We just showed up.
Seamless.
Yeah, and so I think I think parents are becoming more and more. And I'm fortunate. I have a great father-in-law who was very understanding of that. And so, and even, my sister married a Vietnamese man, and their whole wedding process was like super streamlined too. And they didn't do much. I think out of the goodness of his heart, he paid the dowry. And then but my mom just gave that money back, but it's just like a formality thing,
But you don't always know that it's a formality thing.
Yeah.
When I had to give money up, dude, I thought my money was gone forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I did get it back, but I didn't know how it worked.
Yeah. And some
sometimes it doesn't come back. Yeah.
But that's something I can say. Like I am kind of proud of. Like we're starting to be more understanding of like, people's situations and people's circumstances. Because my father-in-law probably could have just been like, no, I need this and this from you, and similar to you, where it's like, hey, I need this and this.
Right, your father-in-law could have said that too.
No, my father-in-law super dope.
Yeah, he could have been like, no, we need to do it this way and that way. What?
Could maybe drink a lot, but again, he understands my sobriety too. And everything.
Right.
I think that's beautiful, and I think we're starting to see some more of that, and I think that's like the beauty of this, and I think it's starting to change. So I don't know. It's like complicated, but I'm a fan of it. Yeah. Because like everyone's situation is so different.
Yeah, that's why we use this podcast a little bit to we talk when we say men's health and we like to talk about it. It's like all the different aspects of men's health, right? And then sharing each other's challenges in all areas of life. A lot of times we go back to what our careers are or jobs that we do, but there's so many you're our first guest that's mixed, right?
Yeah.
And so with you, I really wanted to harp on points that are hard. There, and I can tell when we're having this conversation, we're kind of thinking of how we're gonna say things to be careful about this because
we're
it
walking
is
that line.
It's a very touchy subject to talk about, but
but
I think it's good that we're having it too because. I mean, shit, they're happening. These conversations are happening behind closed doors all the time.
Yeah.
We are being a little bit careful for sure about how we say certain things, but we are going through different adventures, and the fact that you're here, it gives me the opportunity to ask questions that I want to know and find out so that I can be more educated, more open-minded. And I'm legit just curious to really want to know what is your experience like, because I can only imagine what it would have been like.
Yeah.
And when you said earlier that you had certain reservations about Hmong people, me knowing how Hmong people are, I'd be like, yeah, me too, bro. I would have reservations for sure because I know that I'd show up and you'd have that one uncle who'd be saying some shit that's super borderline race, not even borderline, straight up racist. But then he assumes that you'll understand because you're part of the family and stuff.
You understand nephew.
Exactly. But instead you're like, nah, dude, that's not if I did that to you, you wouldn't be cool with it either, But then you got to toe the line, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I really try to put when I found out that you were half, it's just a thing that I really put myself in your shoe, and I was like, there'd be some interesting points for me to just out of straight curiosity want to know and ask, But
for sure. No, I appreciate the questions, and that's kind of why I used to make content and I kind of use my platform to kind of share my experiences and. For people like you who might have been curious and just telling my truth really.
Yeah, and then so what happened with that? Why did you decide to not continue making content or?
Too much work.
It's a lot of work. That's what we're really learning.
But you guys are doing way more as far as editing.
It's too much.
And then there's two of us, so we kind of divide the work, and so it's
no, but you guys are doing way.
Yeah, we divided 90-10.
But even still, you guys are doing way more.
Yeah.
I was just shooting my phone and little slight edits on a little app. But the reason why I stopped was, man, it's like because I had like a lot of comedic content. I wouldn't say I'm a comedian, but like I would just talk and like just say things, and like people just found it to be funny. Yeah. But like, it's hard to make people laugh.
Yeah. And people can misconstrue things.
Yeah, laughing means you got to be a little provocative sometimes. Yeah.
Provocative
you have
too,
to be.
Yeah.
A little bit too. You got to say shit that like people are already thinking, or like if they're not thinking, you got to bring it up to their attention. Yeah. And sometimes it's touchy.
And there's no joke that's not coming out of someone's expense.
Joke, exactly. Every joke, you're roasting something.
Right. Yeah. And so, but like even just in general, it's just like hard to make. Like, it's easier to make a room full of people cry than it is to make them laugh. Like, humor is so, like, subjective. And so, like, and there was a quote I saw my guy, Ricky, who does a Spoiler Force podcast. Shout out to Ricky.
I've been seeing his, I've been seeing his stuff.
That's my guy.
Okay.
But he had posted up something that said about, as far as, like, content creation goes, that relates to kind of why I stopped. But it said something like, if you create out of passion, you make magic, and if you start building out of necessity, then it starts to become a burden. Yeah. And so I guess like for me, I've kind of felt like I was just pushing content out for like necessity, and like it just wasn't really fun anymore for me. And so, but I loved it. There was some parts I really did love though, and just having a platform and being able to tell my truth, because kind of like you said, there's not too many mixed people like me in the Hmong community, and so
you guys have a pretty unique experience of how the world is seen. I think,
and to my knowledge, at least in the Midwest, like I'm pretty positive me and my sister are probably the first like Hmong black. Because I'm 30.
I can see that.
I'm 30. And I've never met,
so that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
so like
your parents were pioneers when that wasn't even.
Because like I was born in '93, and so. They were dating like in the early '90s. That's kind of unheard of. Like,
if you think it's taboo now, like back then, it was
in the 1990s. So like I guess I kind of feel like a pioneer myself. Well, maybe not pioneer, but like
you can say that. But you gotta own that. You gotta own that.
Like a big brother almost.
No, but you can share from your experience, right? Like, there's not too many other mixed Hmong dudes, and when there are, if they're younger and they're having a hard time, like it's just you can speak from experience. That's what we do, right? We're older. We share like, hey, yo, don't worry about this. It's gonna be that. Like maybe it never comes, but when it comes, it's nice to know that somebody else is out there that has experienced that, and like, yo, man, how'd you deal with all that shit? Like,
that's kind of partly why I did it too. And even like parents of like mixed Hmong kids, they would reach out to me and say like, oh, it means so much. Like I know how you feel, and so like. So I do miss that part of content, just like reaching out. There was like people in, I'm not trying to like flex or nothing, but there was like Hmong people like in France and Australia. I was like, I didn't even know there was Hmong people in Australia down under. And so like that was just really cool that I guess my content and my truth like reached people.
It's always gonna resonate with some people.
So
have you thought about maybe redoing that or bringing that back up or?
Man,
it's got to be true to heart, huh?
True to heart.
Like you said, when it becomes work, it's
because we teeter on that. Like today we're shooting 4 podcasts. Sorry to break the fourth wall, but we're shooting 4 podcasts this year
in one day, which means that we sacrificed our entire Sunday when our wives are at home, probably like, where the hell did this do that?
And kids too.
And we were just talking about how. As summer rolls around, we're gonna get busier and busier, so we need to start pumping out 6, 7 in one day. You know,
Jeez.
So it is because it's like James that was here before you was like, you guys have turned this into work, and it's like, a little bit, but we enjoy it. But I think we'll cross that road. I think realistically, you always cross that road. I mean, with my business, it's the same thing. I was doing cars for passion, and then eventually it turned to business, and I'm on the side of saying that you cannot make passion your business because it's no longer a passion. You can still be passionate about it, but I don't know if I'd call it passion because you're trying to also make a living. So it's like a very...
It can't be an outlet.
Exactly, it's not an
it can't
outlet
be-
It's not an
anymore.
outlet.
You
Yeah,
need
yeah.
a new outlet,
Yeah.
right? So if that was my passion before, now my new outlet is like, oh, let's make the gym an outlet again, or let's
Running.
make
Right.
sports an
Yeah.
outlet again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now this has become work, and so when
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
say make your passion your job, and that's like the perfect middle,
It's not.
It's
yeah,
like,
it
yeah,
doesn't
I don't
always-
know about
'cause
that.
My passion, I just want to play with animals all day, but that doesn't pay the bills.
That
So
doesn't
there's
pay
a
the
sales
bills.
component to it. There's a product making.
Yeah.
There's a marketing there where it's like, all right, I don't love this, but in order for me to do what I love, I need to
Yeah.
take on this role and play
Yeah.
this.
And if I
sales
want more
character.
animals, then I need to make more money. So
Yeah,
things need to
yeah.
grow, and things only grow
Yeah.
when they're systemized. So now I
So,
need to create
yeah.
systematic
It is
approaches.
cool that
It's
I
a whole thing.
I'm slowly starting to build something around that, so that I can do it. But yeah, it's not as it's
Yeah, it's never rosy, man.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
never rosy. And same with the podcast. It's we've had it easy for now,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And I think right now it's still kind of fun just because we get to talk to like interesting
Yeah,
people.
we keep
yeah.
it.
And we're still very selective about our guests. Like we talk to people like
Yeah.
that we want to talk to.
Yeah, you guys are dope
You know,
guests.
and so like I said, like I've never actually sat down and have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen you at places, dab you up, whatever. But like, yeah, to be able to sit down and kind of talk to you, hear your story, I think
Yeah.
that's amazing. And that's something we get to do with. Where we're very
Yeah.
lucky, where we get to kind of do that with some of our guests. And so I think maybe once it gets to the point where we're like interviewing people that we don't care about, maybe
Yeah,
then
I
it's
don't know,
like
maybe
all right,
that's
I don't
real
know.
work.
It comes in necessity.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kinda-
where just for content purposes. But like
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious about your experiences, all of our guests
Yeah.
that we bring on. So
Thank
it's
you.
still fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so for me, like that's kind of why I stopped. And my new outlet is what's not really new, but like I just kind of been reconnecting with boxing, kind of
yeah,
like,
yeah.
something
I've been
like
seeing
that.
those
Seen
clips.
a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, people probably sick and tired of me posting.
No, no,
posting
no,
up
you
those
gotta
clips,
do
but
it.
like I love it though. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself. Like some of the
When did you
things
pick
I'm
up
doing.
boxing? When did you first pick up boxing?
Well, okay, so technically I was like, I don't know, 7 or so. Again, my
Okay.
pops was trying to
Okay.
get me out of my shell, and he took me
Yeah.
to a boxing gym called Circle Discipline.
Yeah.
And that's in Southside. And again, I did not like it at all. Didn't stick with it.
Yeah.
But then I kind of revisited when I was 19. My neighbor, he was actually a coach at Circle Discipline.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a weird full circle thing.
Yeah.
But he like would work on our cars. He was really car savvy, and so
Yeah.
he was like, oh, I told him, I was like, oh yeah, I used to box at Circle Discipline. Like I'd like to get back into it, and so he kind of took me under his wing, and it's kind of like my sensei. And
Yeah.
we did work for a couple of years. But then I moved out of Egan.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so I started. That was like 19. Well, okay, so
Yeah.
let me start over. So
Yeah.
at 19, I revisited Circle Discipline by myself. I'd trained hard for like 4 months, and then they were saying like, oh, I could finally spar, and so I did. I got in there with like a 15-year-old,
Yeah.
and he whooped my ass.
Yeah.
It was like he pieced me up. He did not go easy on me.
Yeah.
And so, but in some boxing gyms, they like do that to like test you, see like if
Yeah.
you're about it. If
Yeah.
you're gonna come back the next day. And I didn't come back the next day.
Oh, yeah,
I was crying.
yeah.
My nose was bloody. I had a black
Yeah.
eye. But then fast forward a couple years, that's when I met my neighbor at Egan, and then got
Yeah.
into it again. So I've been super inconsistent with it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I
Yeah.
love boxing though.
Yeah.
It's just like so
Like you said,
scientific.
the sweet
and-
science. Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
ever taken any amateur bouts or anything like that? Because you look good.
thank
You look
you.
good, man.
I appreciate
You
that.
move super well. Like
appreciate it.
I would have thought, I thought you maybe did it,
Yeah. Have you done any fights?
at a competitive
Thank you.
level.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
that's the best compliment whenever people say that about me. But no, I've never gotten any
Really?
fights. Just like a lot of sparring experience.
Yeah.
I want to. Like that's why I've been dropping weight. I was
Okay.
186 in October. Now
Yeah.
I'm like 155 right now.
Yeah.
And I'd like to fight at 140.
Yeah.
I feel like some of my size. I think I could do all right at 140.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how tall are you?
I'm only 5'6".
Yeah.
I'm
So
only
yeah,
5'6".
the height is especially for boxing, 160s. We're talking what is that? A middleweight's like
Yeah.
welterweight's like 147 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which they're huge.
Yeah.
they're
So I was
huge. That's like
186. So I was,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, you be fighting some big boys.
how big
Yeah.
is what weight is T-Bud at?
T-Bud,
He's probably like a 142, no? Only?
142. He fought
145?
Spencer, like 140.
Yeah, so those
but
guys are
how tall-
huge.
how tall is
Yeah,
he?
those guys are
He's
huge.
tall, ain't he?
Those guys are huge.
Yeah.
Those
So,
guys are huge, and they're fighting. It's not like MMA where sometimes you can get away with being a little bit smaller. Even
Yeah.
like boxing. Height is a big factor. Yeah, it's a huge factor.
for sure. So,
Yeah.
hopefully like late spring, early summer.
Okay.
I'm kind of shooting.
Yeah, that'd
Alright,
be cool.
alright.
I think you'd enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Ping and I have both done at least one.
Mine was
Fight.
more of an ass beating. I went and got
Yeah.
my ass beat.
No,
I
you
saw
know?
on Coach Koo's episode.
Yeah,
you talked about it.
And so, and you did. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was
they're like
police
fundraiser
versus-
boxing.
fundraiser.
But I think other than like whether it was like really recorded or not, I think it's just the experience of knowing like, okay, now I'm going in front of a lot of people,
Yeah.
more than I'm used to. And obviously, he would gladly take a KO, and so would I.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
therefore, just that changes everything.
Yeah,
And then
no.
you're like, okay, different types of nerves, different type of energy, and it's a cool experience. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the experience. Thankfully, I came out the other side on the winning
Yeah.
side, so
Yeah.
so I'm not tripping about it too much. But
You look great.
it's a good experience. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, it's just a good experience to go through and be like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what it feels like to like have to step in front of a bunch of people and like it's essentially be like, okay, hey everyone, today I'm either gonna win or get my ass kicked right now.
Yeah. Well, now we got to get the both of y'all in the ring.
Yeah.
together
Oh,
now.
boxing. Well, I was telling
Yeah.
him I plan to go back to.
Yeah.
I need to go back just for the sake of being 35 and just don't want to be so slow. You know, like
Yeah.
when we went and sparred the other day.
Yeah.
It's just
Y'all
like
look good in that too, by the
Yeah,
way.
because we went to Warman.
But you realize your all your mechanisms are like super slow. Your eyes is slow.
Your reactions are slow. Well, they had
Yeah.
a 13-year-old kid that beat
they
the
beat
brakes
both of
off
us.
both of us too.
Who was that?
One of their students,
Eden. It sounded like I think that was the name that was saying in the
Okay.
video. But he was like 13.
Yep.
They got some young phenoms over there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they got some.
He's
Yeah,
got a
and then we
big
ended
school.
up interviewing Max. So I think his episode is going to
Yeah,
drop.
he's only
this,
9.
I was seeing his
pretty soon
clips.
here.
He's a dog. I
Yeah.
was like, man.
He's only
Yeah,
9.
What a
No,
good
8.
kid
Yeah,
too.
9.
What a good
Yeah.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then talking to him, he's like super soft spoken. I mean, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regular kid. I was surprised at how young he was because he was so mature.
Carried himself.
Yeah.
And but yeah, great kid.
What,
And he's with mom and dad too.
yeah.
Mom and dad was real nice.
What gym are you at? Which boxing gym?
Rice Street Old School Boxing.
Rice
Gym.
Street Old
Okay.
School Boxing.
Yeah, definitely come on by. Me and Chin, which I know he was on.
Yeah,
here.
I saw
See,
that.
I watched that
Chin
episode
was,
too.
yeah.
I've been.
Chin's
kinda
coming
taking
back. He's going in there
Yeah.
regularly
he's
now.
Been,
He's
he
been
comes
there?
in when I come in, and so
Ah,
like I've
nice.
been kind of showing him the ropes. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm no trainer. I'm no coach.
Yeah.
I'm not a pro. I'm not even an amateur. But
Yeah.
like I'm like confident enough to like show people the fundamentals.
sure.
Like, I'm not gonna
For
sure.
show you some
Yeah.
wild stuff. Like I feel
Yeah.
good enough to pass on what my sensei taught me. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the fundamentals, right? You
Yeah.
gotta hold some
Yeah.
fundamentals.
yeah.
Boxing is your thing. I'm gonna let you do that. I've already
I
gotten
should
knocked
go
out once
back
for the
over
podcast.
there,
I'm good.
That was
I'm good.
brutal.
Yeah,
I should
my
do
knees
that.
still hurt. Oh, my ribs still hurt from
Yeah,
that.
I bet.
I wake up like when I get up, I have to like I get up extra slow just because it still hurts.
Yeah, that's why I box because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all the other limbs, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
The punches
Yeah.
already hurt bad enough, let alone elbows,
I think
knees.
the
and-
one thing
Yeah.
about boxing that I like is that if you have really good footwork, you can get away with a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, you can too in kickboxing and Muay Thai, but until your legs get compromised.
Yeah.
But in boxing, your legs never really get compromised.
Yeah,
Like
as
they're
long as you
always
got that cardio.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
always an exit, right? So if your cardio is bomb, then your feet can take you all around the ring,
Yeah.
and because you can also, it allows you to also like you can dip low and.
Yeah.
You're not gonna take a knee on your way
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
You might catch an
Rolling.
uppercut, but
Yeah.
it's not the same as a knee to the face.
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
so-
that's brutal.
but yeah. Anyways, I think we're
One more question. Let's see. You're at Warman. Yeah, you. Football. Let's talk
Yeah.
Witness really quick.
Oh
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
witness real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, let's talk Witness because you're killing it out there on the field too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I've been
Yeah.
saying I'm the best, the greatest small flag football running back of all time.
Yeah.
I've been
Hell
saying
yeah.
it for a
Well,
while.
they
Claim it
came out
loudly.
with rankings, didn't they?
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
doing the judging for that?
It's
I
like
did see that though.
Yeah.
Like, that
Kind of like a
usually
burner
does.
account.
Yeah.
some
burner
kind of anonymous.
Nobody's
guy,
gonna put a
but-
name on
nobody
that.
wants to
Yeah,
claim
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they're
the
not trying to
ranking.
bring the pitchforks out and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're subjective. It's definitely there were some things I I strongly disagreed on.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, if you ask 10 people who their top 100 lists are, those 10 lists are going to
that's a
look
lot of 100,
vastly
yeah.
different,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Can I say
not mad
there's
at
two? There is a space and there is a lane for like Hmong flag football commentators. Like if there's somebody came out with like a sports podcast on Hmong sports, they would kill. You know, idea for you.
I was thinking about that.
Like they would kill. I mean, like it is tough because you are talking about people, so you like you got to face the fire sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lane for that.
For
and I was
sure.
just talking to this. I was watching this other sports commentator, like a documentary on him, and he was just like, "Yeah, I used to just go to like the PAL League and commentate their games, and then eventually like I started commentating for the high school, and then he's got a career now commentating at a professional league. So, but I think if some people would start commentating on Hmong flag football or Hmong sports in general,
Yeah.
like I think that's a lane.
That's what, no, for
That's
sure.
a lot
a-
of players. I
yeah.
mean, how many teams are there at J4?
I mean, yeah, think about
How
all
many
the
total
guests you can
teams?
have. Like
25.
And how
I
many?
think,
Is it
or-
just? Can you just have as many players as?
Yeah, you can
want?
have his.
Yeah, it
there's
doesn't
no,
matter, right?
There's no
Yeah.
limit. You know, I actually was thinking about that with one of my good friends, Sebastian. He's a quarterback for Brothers.
Okay.
Not sure if you guys are familiar with that team, but we were thinking about it. But we were like, maybe we should be retired. Because it also because like you're gonna have to be invested. You're gonna have to actually watch like
Right.
Yeah.
almost every
gotta watch every
game,
field,
whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so like it wouldn't work if we were both playing, and then
There's
but now we also
biasness.
have,
too,
that too, and then we also have kids now, so it's like
Yeah.
even if we did retire, I'm not sure if we'd be able to
Yeah.
Right.
dedicate an
Yeah.
entire weekend.
Telling your
from,
wife like, "Hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go just watch
just
a whole
watch.
tournament."
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
and
already
then
enough
commentate,
like
yeah.
playing, committing to 2 days a week playing, but like just
Yeah.
to be there just to watch like from
Yeah.
Yeah.
A to
But
P,
if some
so-
young kid without kids, like,
Yeah.
then and ready to hang up the cleats, maybe that's something they could do. And that there's definitely a lane for that. I mean, we're seeing
Yeah.
podcasts that sprout up everywhere. We're seeing like, and this is not hard to do anymore because you could record on your phone. You can, it's not a lot to get mics, and it's not too much work to just put videos out there. So I think that there's definitely a lane for that. One more thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
I know. You're a father now.
Yep.
How old is your kid now?
He is 15 months.
Okay.
I wanna say, yeah.
Talk about that because I love talking to other parents. Me being a father, like I'm still like navigating that space. Like I'd like to pick the brains of other parents, especially young parents.
Yeah.
And we're pretty close in age, so like. How you liking that? How you navigating that? You're local here in St. Paul, right?
Well, I stay in. Me and my wife stay in New Brighton now.
Okay.
But born and raised in Minneapolis.
Okay.
I don't like St. Paul. No, just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Minneapolis. But yeah, man. No, it's so surreal. Like
Yeah.
even though he's 15 months now, I feel like I'm living in like an alternate dimension. Like
Yeah.
it's like I can't believe that.
Yeah. Right.
That
That
this,
you're a dad to a
yeah,
human.
Yeah.
and it's terrifying too because like you're almost like not to sound like blasphemous, but like you're almost like a god
Yeah.
to this little
Yeah.
being
And they
because
look up
depend
to
on
you
you for
and they-
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they look up to you. You're its idol. Like they depend on you to survive, and so like, that part's kind of terrifying. But then it's
Yeah.
like so great, such a blessing to see all these new milestones. But it's also
Yeah.
bittersweet too, because you're like, I was crying the other not
Yeah.
too long ago. I was crying because I was like, there's gonna be a day when like my baby's not speaking gibberish, and he's
Yep,
gonna,
yep.
and I'm gonna miss him speaking gibberish, and I was
Yeah.
like crying.
Yeah.
And like, I know it just changes you in good ways though. It changes you in good ways.
Take
And-
lots of pictures, man. One of my favorite things to do every morning is like I'll wake up and I'll look at my memories on my Facebook. And it's just like old photos of her, old videos of her. I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah.
And she's 5 now, so I was just saying this in the earlier podcast where she's kind of going, Dad, I need my space, yada yada. I'm like,
Oh, no.
no, like you don't get to say that yet. Like,
Yeah.
not yet. I'm not ready for that
Yeah,
yet.
that's
but,
the teenage years. Not
Yeah,
5 years
I was like,
old,
you're 10 years too early for that. You don't get your own space yet, But yeah, man, I'm so happy for you,
Thank you.
and your wife. Like, just continue loving that thing, and I always just tell parents, just spend as much time with them, get as much skin to skin with them as possible.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do with my kids, and it's just, but.
I don't do that enough. Well, my kid, he's like squirmy too. He's like trying to run.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere, so I hold him for like 15 seconds.
That's what I hear about boys. That's what I hear about
okay,
boys.
maybe it's a boy thing, yeah. And I wanted to ask you, because I get this a lot, imposter syndrome. Because being a dad and being a parent is like the biggest blessing, as you know, the biggest title you could ever have. It's our greatest accomplishment.
Yeah.
We're never going to achieve anything greater than that.
Yeah.
And so like, but that feels like so big, and I feel like I'm not worthy. You know,
Yeah.
like do you? I get that all the time. Do you ever get imposter syndrome, and how do you like deal with that?
I've accepted, or I've come to terms that I'm just gonna do my best, and if she grows up and she hates me, I've come to terms with it. I don't have the best relationship with my father, so then I'm going to do my best, and that's all I can do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's
and
that's a very healthy way to look at it, because you it's all you can do. Like sometimes they'll hate you for no reason, other than I don't agree with you. And maybe they come back later. I mean, we kind of all went through that in a way too, right? Like, I mean, I know I did. I resisted, and then I came back later as an adult. Like, oh, thanks for everything that you did. I just was a teenager, and I couldn't. And it seems like teenager also just like it's an automatic as a teenager to be like, whatever you say, I ain't listening to that. That's kind of the human growth seems. It seems to be, right. So like, I think you probably are aware that like you're gonna. At some point, I mean, if it hasn't already come.
And I want her to challenge my ideas and challenge my thoughts. And I invite that, and I can't wait to have like these complex conversations about race, about gender, about society, right? And like I want her to challenge my ideas, and so I want her to be a thoughtful individual. So I can't wait to have these conversations. You know, like. You know, nothing is taboo. You know, I can't wait to talk to her about drugs and alcohol, like, and share my experiences with it and be very honest with it, with her. So, like, it's, I play these moments in my head all the time. I'm ready for it, but like, it's absolutely okay to feel like an imposter because nobody knows what they're doing. Everyone's just trying their best.
I'm just freestyling this.
Everyone's just trying their best, and you know, just do it. Do it with your wife. Make sure you guys, whatever you guys decide to do with your kid, make sure you guys are both on the same page. Just have fun with it.
And good luck.
Good luck. Good luck.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it's been real tight. Thank you for coming. Like I said, this means a lot. Like, I don't know how close you guys are, but like it's really cool to like actually sit down and chat with you. Like,
we've been chatting on.
No, it's just. I really wanted to hear your angle. I think it's an angle that, like, for people that do listen to our podcast, and we always say we don't know who's listening, maybe nobody, but even if there's one person, it's like I really wanted you to just also speak about what your experience is, and for the listener to, hopefully the listener is open-minded enough to put themselves in your shoes through this conversation to just understand that, there's different perspectives in the world, you know, and this black dude is a Hmong dude too, you know, like there's nothing different. We just grew up differently. It's also why I try to be open too, because we've all been prejudiced or at least judged for something that we didn't like. And this opens up conversation to just let people know, like, yo, we're just humans like you. And if you're behind that lens and thinking that you're perfect, then thanks for listening. And that's about it. But
you're gonna have a rude awakening.
Yeah, exactly. So
but thank you, man.
We
I
appreciate
really
your
appreciate
time,
it.
man.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you guys. And I just want to say too, I feel like I don't know if you guys watch like the Brilliant Idiots or.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan.
Like, like me and my wife were just talking about this, but like as far as what you guys are doing in the community, I feel like that's you guys. Like as far as like the pinnacle of podcasts, and it's crazy because you guys just like been recently starting, but like you guys are like so legit, and I'm a genuine fan.
Man.
I love what y'all are doing. It's a blessing for you guys to share your platform with me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good, man.